Hey everybody, it's Alan Brochstein coming to you from Houston, Texas. I spend a lot of time on cannabis stocks. And finally, well, not finally because it's happened before, but after a long time, the market rallied a lot from very cheap levels. Should you just jump in and buy? We'll talk more about that. I run New Cannabis Ventures, which now has no clients. I think that's a good sign, actually. It has nothing to do with the service that anybody received. It has to do with the idea of spending money to find smart investors has not been worth it, and I understand that. I also run 420 Investor, where I run two model portfolios that are both near their maximum cash now. Am I bearish? We'll talk about that later. So this week, there was some really big news. What happened? Well, Joe Biden delivered on what he promised on, which is that his administration would work to reschedule medical cannabis. And the Department of Health and Human Services, HHS, has asked the DEA to move it from Schedule 1, which is the worst drugs ever. Like, I don't think cocaine is one of them, or maybe it's not heroin. One of those two is not Schedule 1, but the rest of them are pretty bad. Cannabis does not belong in Schedule 1. And the DEA has been asked to move it to Schedule 3. Now, I'll talk more about that in the newsletter that will appear tomorrow morning at New Cannabis Ventures if you want to learn more about the way I think about that. So it's not a done deal, and there are some other bad things that could happen, but this may mean the end of 280E tax. And I know I've come across as kind of bearish to many people this year. I've been cautious, and I've pointed to we need one of two things to happen or we're doomed, sadly. And one of those two things was the end of 280E, which may be here, and it's very bullish. And the stocks are very cheap. All right. So I did distribute one piece that I still stand by it, by the way, but it might not happen. And the title of it was Curaleaf Could Fall to $2. I continue to believe that Curaleaf is very overvalued relative to its peers. And if you're an investor in MSOS, they own a big chunk of Curaleaf in that ETF. So you can read that if you want. I'm not going to tell you, I wrote that before the rescheduling news came out, and it's not my prediction that it's going to actually hit $2. The stock isn't expensive in and of itself. It's just expensive relative to peers and remains so. And it lagged on the way up. Some of the stocks I really like did a lot better, like Trulieve, like Planet 13. All right, so there was not a lot of news this week. And on my focus list of 26 stocks, Organigram introduced some THCV products. THCV is a more rare cannabinoid than THC or CBD. Planet 13 made a big announcement, a big surprise. They're buying VidaCann. You've heard of VidaCann before if you've been following the space before. VidaCann was going to merge with Cresco, but that deal fell apart. This deal is at a much lower valuation, $49 million in mainly stock. Tilray, yay, Tilray. Go buy Tilray, it's great, buy it, Tilray. No, I'm just kidding. Tilray sucks, the stock sucks. And they announced new pre-rolls at Riff. And then finally, Urban Grow exited its convertible note investment in XS Financial And while that's not really important in the scheme of things, it was only a couple $1 million that they got out of that. It's pretty good for Urban Grow. Full disclosure, I own Urban Grow as of this week in one of my model portfolios. All right, the market performance this week was stellar. The global cannabis stock index rallied 21.7% from, I have a mistake in this write-up. I forgot to take out something. I'll fix that. And the S&P 500 rallied 2.5%. We were almost 10 times better than the S&P 500. Unfortunately, the year-to-date score is not good. We're still down 8%, and the S&P 500 is up 17.6%. We're getting crushed. Maybe that'll change. If we get the rescheduling and there aren't some messes with it, which I talk about in the newsletter tomorrow, then maybe we'll just keep going up. Stocks are cheap. All right. I run 2 model portfolios, and this was a great week for both of them. The Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index, which I started on December 31st. That one is based on a model portfolio I was running at Bad Zynga that did very well over time. It did better when the market went up than the index, and it fell less when the market went down. Almost every quarter, I would say every quarter, but I really don't remember, but every year, yes. 2022 was tough. Of course, I was almost killed, and I was in the hospital for 2 of those months, and the market was getting crushed. But this week, I just told you the global cannabis stock index gained 21.7%? Yeah. My Beat the Global Cannabis Stock Index model portfolio gained 26.5%, and I had cash during the week. I was actually raising some cash when the news came out, and I hadn't yet seen the news. And so it's hard to beat an index that's rallying like crazy when you have cash. I did it this week. Unfortunately, year to date, I'm still down 10.3%, and the index is down 8%. So I'm not doing my job. I can explain that to my subscribers, which I do. And I had a lot of turnover. And the big picture for me this week was going to about 18% cash, going from very overweight, the MSOs, Trulieve and Planet 13 primarily, to underweight now. But that doesn't mean I don't like some cannabis stocks. I add to some as well. In the Beat the American Cannabis Operator Index model portfolio rallied a friggin' 50.1%. I never would have imagined. Thank you, Trulieve. Thank you, Planet 13. I'll just sit for a moment and smile. I didn't really predict this. I have predicted and shared both of those with the public. So you never know what it takes. Well, the index was up 46.6%. So again, and I had 10% cash early in the week. So again, even with cash, one can beat the market. And that kind of gets to my investment philosophy. Take less risk, get more reward. Period. Is that easy to do? No. No. That's my goal, though. And this week, MSOS, which I really try to beat, was only up 39%. Again, I was up 50%, and that was up 39%. Go figure. So year to date, this portfolio is still down 5.6%, and the index is up 15%. I can explain that, and I do to my subscribers. But MSOS is down 2.6%. So I'm not getting my secondary goal either of beating MSOS, but I will watch. And this week on the calendar, there's really nothing but Labor Day. Have a good one. Take care.